Welcome to Pimpy's Investment Chat, where we keep investment talk simple. And here's your host, Pimpy.
What is going on out there, peeps? All right, I want to respond to the comments under the video that I did about the Zim dollars, because people were making some interesting points out there that I definitely want to go over with you guys. All right, so let's get into this. Before we get started, do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button. If you're not a subscriber, please do so, because when you do, it helps out the channel, and I certainly do appreciate it. If you're thinking about buying gold and silver, head on over to our friends at Miles Franklin. The link will be down below in the description. When you make your purchase, make sure you use promo code Pimpy, P-I-M-P-Y, and they'll take care of you. If you have any additional questions, you can reach us over here at this phone number or over here at this particular email. For all orders over $10,000, reach out by email and we'll make sure that you get a great deal. So come on over to Miles Franklin and add to your precious metal inventory. Okay, so I released a video not that long ago saying the Zim dollars. Here's your Zim bond notes. Because people keep asking me about the Zim dollars, the ones that say bond notes on there, or the ones that are checks. And I keep explaining to them that those are no longer any good. That these are the new currencies. These are the ones that you should be paying attention to. I love the colors, by the way. So let's get in and see what your guys' response and comments are. You sure you know what you're talking about? I've not seen anyone else come out with this info. Thank you. I've been doing my own research into this. Thank you for filling in some gaps for me. No problem. That's what I'm trying to do. I just don't want you guys to waste your time and waste your money. Thanks, Pimpy. I was wondering how these $1 trillion notes could still be good with the printing of the new lower value notes. That's just it. When a currency redenominates, all right? Lop off zeros or delete zeros off the currency, or whenever they change the face of it or change the overall look, the older currency is no longer any good. But I got people out there going, no, but this is a bond. The government is obligated to this bond. Government is obligated to the Argo checks. And I keep explaining to them, man, you guys are wrong. And I'm going to show you guys today what I'm talking about. Because no matter how many times I tell you, I guess I have to show you in a fine print so that you guys understand. As always, thank you, Pimpy. You are very welcome. Great info. Thanks for the clarification. Oh, I'm going to give you a little bit more clarification today. I keep saying it now for years. You cannot revalue a hyperinflated currency, period. That means the dinar too. Well, we'll definitely keep an eye on it. I have so many of those uncirculated 2008 Zims. I gave them to the kids so they could play bank and store with them. A few years back, some guru was begging for money to keep bringing us intel. I offered him the Zim. That is awesome, man. That is funny. Well, that's definitely checking whether or not they believe in the currency if you offer it to them and they don't want it. Well, what's I tell you altogether? That is funny. The history of the Zim money, Pimpy, mentions as a collector is very interesting. Oh, yeah, I'll show you. I'm not kidding. So these ones here, you can see this is the price for the ones that have the authenticity guaranteed. So they have at least a paperwork saying that it's authentic. But what you're looking for is graded ones, or you should send yours in graded. Having a certificate helps, so you can send that in with when you get yours graded. See how this comes with a certificate? So you want them very crisp, uncirculated, sharp edges, sharp corners. You want them centered perfectly. And then when you get them graded, so look at here. This is what I'm talking about. This is the highest grade you can get. Perfectly centered, sharp edges, sharp corners. Look how much you're selling it for. Here's the thing. If you have the certificate of authenticity to go along with this, that's even better. Okay? But you can see how much you're selling it for here. That's crazy. Pimpy, are you telling me that Mark Z lied again? Yeah. Either he's got to be the most misinformed, uneducated person speaking about these currencies, or he's purposely misleading you. The bigger and stranger news would be if Con Z was not lying. Con Z. Maybe he's smoking too much of that ganja they got busted with. What do you guys think? Look at this person. Buy 2008 AA or AB Zim bonds. They will be worth a fortune soon. Listen to me. No, you're wrong. We're not going to listen to you. So here is the story on them. People keep asking me about the checks, the Argo checks. If you look right up on them, they have an expiration date on them. They tell you, this was short term, by the way. It was issued in July. And it was only good until December 31st. That's it. There's a time limit right here. People are like, no, man, it's a bond. It don't expire. Yes, it does. These Argo checks and the ones that are bonds, they expire. I guess you guys want proof, right? So anytime you're dealing with checks or bonds, you have to look at the terms and condition. So Zimbabwe passed what's known as the Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe Act. And in there, it talks about the checks and the bonds. So you go down here to 42B, issue of Reserve Bank vouchers. If the bank is of the opinion that a shortage of currency or any denomination to pay the remuneration of members of the public service or other employees of the state is imminent or is in existence, which needs to be dealt with urgently in the interest of public order or the economic interest of the state, it may, with the consent of the minister, authorize the issue of reserve bank vouchers, specifically therein predetermined amounts in any currency that is redeemable at a bank, subject to any one or more of the following conditions, namely conditions as to, see, anything that's redeemable, anything, checks, bonds, anything that's redeemable. That's what they're talking about. So if you go down here, it says, and the expiry date of the voucher, if any. So they have an expiration on them. It is subject to an expiration date is what this says. So this is part of a law there. Again, this says these checks and bonds are subject to the following one or more of these conditions. There's an expiration date on them. Paid to the bearer on demand on or before 31st of December 2008. They were issued July 1st, 2008. So you had, what is that? You had 6 months. These all were meant to be short term, all of them. The bond notes as well as the special Argo checks. So there are other conditions that are tied to these checks. So that's the thing. Just because people go, well, they're a bond, the government has to honor it. No, they don't. No, they don't. Because you are subject to the terms and conditions. Why do you think this is on there? For shits and giggles? Zimbabwe's Reserve Bank Act tells you that any of these kind of notes, whether they are bond notes, whether they are special checks, are subject to term limits, subject to expiry dates. That's exactly what these have on there. They're expired. Sorry about that. I know people had their hopes up, but yeah, no. Especially when you do a redenomination and you change your currency, then the old ones are no longer any good. They have stacked rocks. This is a curse, something I would stay away from. Yeah, they do. Actually, I don't know if they stack them themselves, but there is a landmark there that looks like that. I've actually seen it. Unfortunately, I bought one and lost $43. Well, if you had one that was really crisp and sharp, you could send it in and get more than the $43 that you paid for. It is funny how you say you don't want them to go down. Realistically, everything goes up and down, even the US dollar. So didn't think anything is just going to go up and up and up. It's not realistic. Have the best day ever. Thank you. I appreciate that. Here's how to look at this. The real world, what really happens, how things really are. Then there's the dinar world. Don't align. I shake my head at some of these people that think these notes are valid. You mentioned that they're invalid and cashed out. I laughed at my old lady. Well, here's the thing. A lot of people don't do the research. And they trust the people that they're listening to. You know what I mean? It's kind of hard to give them too much shit about this. Do a little digging. Or you can tell them to come here, because Pimpy's not going to lie to you. I'm going to tell you the truth. It's not always popular telling people the truth, but at least you're going to get it here. So I'm sorry to say that special Argo checks or any of the Zim bond notes, you can see right on them, they have an expiration on them. Look at this one. Same thing. On or before the 30th of June, 2008. It was issued the 2nd of April and expired on June 2008. So yeah, any of those ones that are bond notes, any of those ones that are checks, they're going to have a time limit on it. And all this crap about, well, the government has to honor it. No, they don't. Because there's a law that passed that tells you you're subject to the thing expiring. This is only meant to be short term. These things are no longer any good. Anyways, that's it for now. I appreciate you checking in. I'll get back to you later. I am out.